Pant.
Namaste भैया.
Morning.
Namaste everyone. Namaste Bhaiya ji.
Namaskar. Namaskar. Yeah, hi Pant. How are you?
Good morning.
Namaskar.
How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I could not participate in a couple of sessions.
Everything good?
So 8:30 is a tricky time for me. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. I think, you know, the daylight saving time will change the time here. So at that time, I adjust. So 7 in India would be like 9:30 here. 7:30 will be 10. So do you have a preference, Pant, between 7 or 7:30?
30.
You're breaking up quite a bit.
7:30.
7:30. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, 7:30 is good. I think it's good for us too then. So Onkar, Eddie, Shivangi, Warren, I think 7:30 India and 10 a.m. here. I think that just stays the same for us pretty much. Good. So yeah, Eddie, I think let's talk a bit about the satsang high level, and then I want to go into yam and niyam today for a little bit. I have so before you go in, talk about that, Eddie. I think is it Emily?
That's correct.
So say your name yourself. I think I'll try.
Amelie.
Emily. So you have done meditation before?
Yes.
This is the first time.
No, I've done meditation before.
No, this first time here though.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
my first time here. I
Yeah.
apologize. Sorry.
No problem. So yeah, so what we'll do, I think Eddie will describe on very high level what satsang is, and just a 10,000-foot view. And today, then I would go into, a few sessions back, we talked about, you know, how satsang relates to yoga philosophy and the 8 limbs of yoga. So I'll just quickly touch on that, and then we will focus on how to meditate and have a meditation session, which is typically meditation in silence. We transition in with music. Takes about 20, 30 minutes. So yeah, welcome on board. Nice to have you here. So Eddie.
Yes. Good morning and welcome everyone to another workshop. My name is Eddie. I've been practicing satsang for 14 years. During that time, it has made my life more joyful and pleasant. I hope that it would be the same for you as you practice. First slide, please. This infographic illustrates some important concepts, practices, and structures related to satsang in this workshop. The first element is satsang. And Satsang is the way we acquire peace, light, and love in our life. It consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy. Sang means to be in the company of or to be with. So together, the two words mean to be in the presence of positive energy or divine positive energy. The other elements are meditation, inner orientation, group session, joy and inner happiness, and agenda. We will cover these elements in a subsequent workshop. The agenda. The agenda slide, please. One. The agenda consists of 3 sessions. There's the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. The informative session is essentially a lecture where we talk about satsang, the founder, or some main topic. Followed up by the practice session, where we give instruction on how to meditate, followed by a practice period. The last session is the interactive session. It consists of Q&A or a panel discussion. Next slide, please. The 4 themes that are covered during this boot camp. They basically lay a foundation for the beginners to build their knowledge upon and grow their knowledge. The first is inner peace. The second is yoga and satsang. The third, personal progress in satsang. And the fourth is manifesting transcendental energy. Now I would like to introduce our session facilitator for this workshop. He has 40 years of experience and is Guru Maharaj's grandson. He was born into a satsang family who practiced the satsang method that we will learn today. He has personally witnessed their transformation into enlightened beings whose lives were filled with peace, light, and love. He currently travels in the United States and India conducting satsangs, while at the same time holding down his responsibilities and duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Please join me in welcoming Brother Sanjeev Kumar.
So, yeah, and thanks, Eddie, for getting us started. So today, basically, I want to touch upon a little more on the behavioral aspect, like how meditation actually helps acquire better behavior and give up some of the not so good part of behavior. So this one, this session, I kind of want to keep it as informal as possible, and a little shorter. So we'll keep this pretty quick. Focus is still on the meditation, which will be 20 to 30 minutes. And so I'll introduce the concept, and then after the meditation, we will talk a little more about and interact, comments, thoughts that everyone can share around it. My grandfather set up a nonprofit around 1930 to just freely, kind of talk about. He basically took a lot of things around meditation and how one can grow spiritually from various different methods. India has pretty abundant sources of, such research, and other, religions, other scriptures, and he basically, what worked for him, he packaged it together and just shared with everyone. And that process, my uncles, some of his other disciples, they just freely shared, how to meditate, how to leverage, as Eddie was highlighting. I think the focus is, how do we, create unconditional love within us? And that's easier said than done, seriously. And how do we, um, you know, ignite this light within us, which is, in my view, that just depicts a state of knowledge, state of knowing. Uh, you know, don't talk about this and talk about that and listen. And knowing is where the peace comes. And then, this, somebody asked my grandfather, like, so what do you really believe in? And he said he believes in achieving this ocean of infinite peace. And then, the conversation went on, but um, he just said that that's the essence of being human. And what, once you achieve that, like, if you are at peace, you can share that freely. People who come in contact would be, uh, you know, would feel that without really doing anything. And that, I experienced this myself as I was growing up. Um, so, now, in terms of the backdrop, Yuan, can you share the eight limbs? Um, yeah, so this is, the eight limbs of yoga. So the father of the yoga philosophy, Maharishi Patanjali, he basically said that yoga is not, a lot of people think that yoga is asanas and pranayams, the physical exercises and breathing exercises, but there are, six other pieces. And this is like a framework, and I am trying to write this up. So within this framework, lot of variations fit in. So if these eight limbs are there, then it could be referred to as yoga. Now, the way this, um, depiction is done is like, foundational things are asanas, pranayams, yam, and niyam. And what is, on the top, actually, incidentally, all of those relate to meditation. So what's interesting is, out of the eight, the four limbs, and actually there are all, eight focused on getting to the higher consciousness, which is samadhi. But the four are heavily focused on, the uh, basically are integral parts of meditation itself. So Pratyahar is basically, instead of letting your senses go towards the world, move them, orient them to look inwards. That's Pratyahar. Dharana is manifestation, or the object of concentration. What do you meditate on? And that, I think, is where a lot of meditations differ. What do you want to manifest? Do you want to manifest? I mean, if you go to YouTube, love, money, gratitude, but then what Guru Maharaj, my grandfather, talked about is like, go for, go to, take the higher road and go for, um, manifesting transcendental energy. And what that energy encapsulates all of that uh, that people want to manifest within different variations of these meditations. So we would meditate on transcendental light. And then obviously when you get deeper into your imagination or object of concentration, you get into dhyan, which is meditation itself. And then the result is higher consciousness. So the top four I call inner yoga, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi, which is looking inwards, manifestation or object of concentration, meditation, and higher consciousness, the resulting higher consciousness. All that I call inner yoga. And inner yoga pretty much defines satsang in my view. Like from satsang has many other dimensions, as we'll talk about in some other workshops, but from a yoga backdrop, I think the inner yoga talks about like how we, satsang has those four in focus. And interestingly, if you have better control on your mind, if you have better ability to concentrate, and with meditation, you get this reflection and deep inner wisdom and higher consciousness, then your ability to work out better, do asanas and pranayams and breathing exercises and physical exercises will get better. But then yama and niyama, which is, the traits you want to acquire and traits that you want to restrain within yourself, the behavioral aspect, and we don't have OG here today, but, what I found was that people who have come and joined satsang soon find that their behavior is actually, getting affected. And that effect usually is because, when you have better control on your mind and your thoughts, thoughts are related to how you feel and then how you behave. So that's always, so I would actually, one of the measures of a good satsang practice that Guru Maharaj talked about was that your behavior, especially one of my eldest uncle used to say that if your behavior is not changing for better, then figure out another method, because that should be one of the measures through which you figure out if your practice is on the right track. Yuan, there was another slide just focusing on yama and niyama. No. No. It was, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So, interestingly, these, so 5, things that to acquire and 5 things not to do. Basically, I've translated in, what those should be. So, love and compassion. And so interestingly, if One is meditating, looking inwards, getting to a higher consciousness. I mean, if you look at all these 10 aspects, and that's what Guru Maharaj said, and that's what I think we all would feel, that if you want to be truthful, for example, you need some inner strength. You need that ability to, that ability to ground yourself and be able to do that. So to me, in a way, these things would get deeper and better in your life only if you have control on your mind, control on your thoughts, control, your meditation. So hence your meditation practice will help all of this, right? So love and compassion. I mean, as Eddie mentioned, and I have seen heavily, it's, people who, I was fortunately born into a family which was, a satsang family. And what I have seen, like people who were in satsang for a while, love and compassion becomes their second nature pretty much. Truthfulness requires that inner strength, as I was talking about. Do not steal. I mean, but it's culturally, and there are things that become okay. You can do this, but I think Maharishi Patanjali wanted to say that if you do any of this, if you go against these principles, then it affects your inner peace, and hence it will affect your growth. So self-discipline, being content, which these days it feels like it's against the ambition and growth, but wherever you grow to, you will always feel there's more to go, and which is fine. But feeling that, where you are still a person who's complete, and be content with what is there, doesn't mean that you don't compete. It doesn't mean that, it is a state where internally you feel complete, and as a duty and as a factor of growth, you continue to do what you need to do, but not because I'm empty and I'm driving towards something to fulfill my, if I do this, then I'll be happy, versus, I'm happy where I am, but I want to continue to grow. Slightly subtle difference there. So anyway, these things, all I wanted to say was, if you follow satsang, inner yoga, some of this will start to come within you, and I think almost, I shouldn't say effortlessly, but it will be a byproduct of a good meditation practice anyway. So we'll talk more after our meditation. We'll interact, and thoughts, comments, questions we'll take after the meditation. So let's get into meditation. So for those who know, it's probably standard, but let me describe. So first thing is, sit in a relaxed posture. So that's very important, because every time your body moves, your mind moves with it. So we want to minimize the distractions to the mind so that we can focus on our meditation. So relaxed posture so that your body doesn't move too much for next 15-20 minutes. Eyes lightly closed for the same reason that sensory input distracts our mind. So relaxed posture, eyes lightly closed. Try to keep your spine straight because energy lifts up through the spine, and chin a little inwards for slightly better posture. And think of this transcendental light in front of you that's entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you are becoming completely immersed in this light. When mind wanders away, bring it back. So bring it back. So as soon as you realize that your mind has wandered away, bring it back to this thought that light is in front of you, entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you are becoming one with this light. So initially, for a few minutes, we will have music that is just to transition into meditation. And then there'll be silence for 15-20 minutes, and then a little bit of music again, and we'll wrap up. So I'll say it one more time. So think of this transcendental light in front of you that's entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming completely immersed in this light. Mind wanders away, bring it back to this thought. You can do other things like mindfulness or chanting or whatever before or after. While doing this meditation, just focus on this light, the presence of this light, and you're getting completely immersed in this light. Let's start now. So, Pant or Eddie, you want to get us started with you know, what you think from Yam, Niyam, and
Okay,
meditation perspective?
sure. In fact, we were talking about the second half actually, but I can touch upon that as well. When your mind goes to still station, like Dharana, Dhyana, and final Samadhi, the time probably comes to a kind of still, I think. Even there are scriptures which says that a lot of saints or siddhas, they used to stay immortal for quite longer duration, maybe thousands of years and maybe. So they might be in a different state of mind where the time doesn't count. Even the science says that the gravity is heavy, the time loses its value or dilates, whatever. Similarly, probably the moment start you meditating and bring your mind still, maybe you have powerful state, blissful state. For that, we need to make a groundwork. That's why I think Yam and Niyam asanas are important to like non-obstructing when you practice meditation. That's one of thought which came to my mind. So I thought I
Yes,
would share.
no, definitely. I think you know, some of these things uh, are behavior. I think good behavior defines a good human being. So I think yama and niyamas are just describing a few things we all ought to have anyway. Yeah. So Eddie, any uh, thoughts there?
Yeah, I have a few thoughts. First, I'd like to talk about the effect that yama and niyama have on the heart, and then talk about the relationship between satsang and yama and niyama. But even before that, I'd like to state the yamas in a little different way that might be familiar to some folks here today. So you talked about love and compassion. We could also say do no harm or do not murder, which is a form of do no harm. Truthfulness, we could say do not bear false witness or do not lie. Do not steal, well, do not steal. And conserve energy is do not commit adultery. And then non-possession is do not covet, or in terms more familiar to us is do not become attached to things, so have no attachment. So now we can see that this idea of yoga exists in more things than just satsang, right? When you say it that way, do not murder, do not bear false witness, do not steal, do not covet, and do not commit adultery. It's more familiar to people in the West, and so you see these same concepts are in the systems of religion here in the West as well. The next thing I'm going to talk about here is the effect of yama and niyama on the heart. Yama, we can say, are ethics and morals. And so when we act in opposition to that, like you said, it creates these disturbances within our heart and within our heart. Those, in a sense, are impurities. When we affect our heart in that way, what do we feel? We feel a weight. Our heart feels heavy. And we want to relieve ourselves of that. And so when you take the case of say, a murderer, and they, the detectives find this murderer and they bring him into the interrogation room and they begin to ask him questions and they see his It's sort of his mood starts to change, his emotions start to get to him, and he starts to feel remorse. And then they sort of go in for the kill. They say, now's the time to get that weight off your chest, which is essentially the weight of the heart that the heart feels at that moment. And then even though these folks know they're going to go to prison if they confess to the crime, they do anyway because the burden is so great. They want to get rid of it. It really does affect you in a negative way when you act in opposition to the yama. Now, so they create impurities. That's the point I wanted to make. Now, the niyamas help bring light into the heart. And so when we do these things, they make us feel better. So when we maintain a state of cleanliness, both physically and spiritually, internally, we feel better. When we're more content, our hearts feel lighter, right? We feel better. When we surrender to Guru, our heart feels light. We experience joy and all these other things. We feel better. And so our heart, the feeling we get from our heart is a measure of how compliant we are with the yama and the niyama. So we can use our heart in that way. Now, when we consider satsang, what do we do? What is our practice called for? We focus the light on our heart center, right? The light coming into our heart. And so just that alone is sort of the niyama, right? We're manifesting that light that we basically use to, chase out the darkness and also move us upwards to our target state. And so that's basically acting like a niyama. We don't have to do the outer yoga. We can just do the inner yoga and achieve this niyama by bringing the light into our heart and increasing it that way. It comes through Guru, but nonetheless, it comes into our heart. And then the yamas are impurities, but what happens during our satsang practice? We eventually, over time, once we calm our mind, the real cleansing begins, and those impurities that are there within our heart get removed by Guru. So just by doing satsang, we become compliant with the yama and niyama through our internal satsang. We don't have to do the outer form of satsang. So that's kind of what I wanted to say.
So Emily, or Ankit or Shivangi, any thoughts, questions?
I don't have any questions. I thought it was really good. This is the first time of doing this type of meditation for me. And I was actually kind of surprised in myself that I stayed focused as long as I did. So I was like, that was a big win for me. And I was pretty far in before I felt my mind kind of wandering, but I also set the intention that I was in sort of receive mode. So if something came to me or an idea while I was in it, I kind of set the intention before we started that it would be important. So after we got done, I just wrote a couple of things down that had come into my mind while I was doing the meditation. But I really like it. I do other meditations with the idea of light and seeing it come in. So it's just a little different sort of modality, but I thought it was really great.
Wow, you already on the way. So, I mean, this sounds like a very, very good start, because even people who have meditated, I've seen in this one, uh, you know, uh, yeah, it's almost like a 50-50. So this sounds like, you know, you had a good session, and um, see, if nothing else, this can augment whatever else you're doing pretty well, and would probably help whatever else you're doing. So yeah, this can potentially take you much deeper once it sets in, and I am actually quite amazed and pleasantly surprised that in when you are in a both my grandfather and his guru, they used to write things down when they would dawn on them. So that's an awesome thing as well.
Yeah, it was really great. And I always know when I have a good meditation session when while I'm meditating, I start to feel like I'm floating a little bit. Like I kind of, and I got that feeling. And that's like when I know that I'm pretty deep into the meditation. And when the music came on, it kind of startled me a little bit. So like I knew that I was kind of deep in there.
Yeah, I actually sometimes after the meditation, the expectation is that you speak, and I have like no intention to do that. It's like I'm so quiet and it in a nice place. Like why rattle that, right? So yeah, it's all good. I mean, very very glad to have you know see basically sometimes I feel that when collectively we feel this way, this is lot of other collective activities don't really do that. So this is almost as unique and as good as it gets. Collective energy, and I always repeat this again and again that my lifeline has been group sessions, and in a group session when people feel uplifted, that's usually very infectious.
Yeah, and I truly believe that it amplifies whatever one
Mhm.
person is doing in a group. And um, sometimes I do a meditation where I imagine the light that's come into me kind of radiating out, and I'll kind of send it and I'll imagine it going the whole way around the world and then, touching every human, every creature, all of that. And, I really think that group is definitely, it amplifies anything that each of us are doing on our own.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said is basically the essence of satsang anyway. So yeah, uh, I don't want to get carried away, but really feel, um, you know, it's just these words are so, um, you know, they just it it just feels so good to hear. I mean, it's I think it's just what it ought to be. Wow. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. This is really great. Thank you for holding this.
Sure thing. Yeah, we do Saturdays 10 a.m. Every Saturday. Where are you located?
I'm in Maryland, near Baltimore.
Yeah, so I'm in Oakton in Virginia. So
Okay.
yeah, so we also, the reason I asked was like we also do Tuesdays 7 p.m. So depending on you know this time is good for India and Europe also. So some folks join session.
Awesome.
So Ankit, Shivangi.
Priyaji. Namaste to everyone.
Namaskar. How are you?
I'm good. Hope everybody is doing good. I found the session really insightful. particularly the eight limbs part, the roots and the branches, where to focus on, and eventually what will it lead to. So, what I basically felt was you have to look more inwards rather than outwards, so that it will have overall, it will overall condition my personality and my behavior and my understanding of self and others. So it was really an insightful session, and I really thank all of you for organizing this. And so those are my thoughts. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, makes sense. Shivangi, you have been quiet.
Yeah, I was giving everybody a chance.
Thank you for that. The barrage of questions didn't start right off the bat.
Yeah,
So
but I
that's
do have them. I always have questions. So the pyramid that you had shown with Yama and Niyam, is there so like I that reminds me of the previous pyramid that we have spoken about, the five realms, and it's a sequential, you go step by step. Is there a step by step to Yamas and Niyams, or is it all concurrently? You can like these changes, satsang brings these changes simultaneously, or it's one before the other, or
I would say that um, each of these are pretty deep in themselves. And I don't think there is any sequence here as the other one that we talk about, like 5 steps to Nirvana. That's, you know, again, in one of the discussions we said, like, it what level you are at is just like, something like where you can go up to. Right? But here, I think these are just 5 important pieces of, you know, things that you need to um, acquire in terms of traits, and things that you need to give up in terms of traits. But what I also find, though, is it's like, until and unless you have control on your mind, until and unless you have inner strength from meditation, it'll be very hard to, really follow yama and niyama. Now, the thing is, like, not just sequential, it's like, if you look at tap, which is, endurance. I mean, if you go back to the ancient times, like, yogis would spend years and years and years and years just on that, right? The thought process was that if I can endure, hence I can control my mind, right? So I would stand on one feet, or I would, you know, uh, do things like which are just hard on you, right? Um, but Guru Maharaj's view was that they, one, we don't have that kind of strength anymore physically, and time is also limited. You know, so and the whole so what's for the masses is, focus on the mind first and control the mind. And once you have a little bit of that, you could utilize some of that capability to um, change, make changes within, right? So, to me, actually, all these 10, every single one of them is extremely important and difficult and, like just like truthfulness, right? Easier said than done, right? There will be times when you struggle, like, what should I do? And the thing is, like, if you have inner strength, which you get through, practices that um, you know, meditative practices, I would say. And then other thing I was just reading, like Guru Maharaj has written that if you are, if when you tell a lie, a lot of times that leads to more lies. And something starts exposing that your peace is shattered completely, right? So this just one piece can be so important. Then when he talks about, like, in a completely different context of devotion, he was talking about like what matters, and one of the, so he basically is talking about yama and niyamas, but he starts with, who do you, um, like, who are you with matters, right? So good company or bad company, right? And these days we have little control on that. So his view was that, I interact with other people, but I'm always with my guru. So I'm always with positive energy. So that overlay is a very accomplished state, or a higher consciousness state and all that, but flip it and then see, okay, in this culture, don't we need that? I mean, we go meet people and get so disturbed, right? That happens more often than not, right? So what do we need? We need to be in the presence of, and everything else should be, you know so it's, when the pandemic was happening, I was kind of thinking, we all need like some kind of a armor or a cover, right? And then what would that be? That would be an energy sheath, right? I'm surrounded by this energy. So why then, why not always, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, to me, my answer would be like, out of all these 10, every single one, you get one and you will see what a difference it makes. And they are kind of interconnected too.
Mm.
Wow. Okay, so Eddie, would you wrap this up for us? This is a very good session. Really feels so good.
Yes, I think the enlightening thing about the topic you presented today is said in other words is these other words being ethics and morals is a very important part not only of our in our society, but it also benefits us tremendously, right? And it keeps us healthy mentally and physically. So we should keep in mind these yamas as we live our lives each day. It's only going to, if we do act in compliance with them, it's only going to bring us the joy and happiness that we're looking for. And then just lastly, I just want to remind everyone that there is a YouTube channel um, that have various topics that are covered, and also the recordings for these live events are also there. And additionally, we have a website that has some very interesting articles on it as well.
Awesome. All right. And we'll, have a good week ahead, and we'll see you all soon. Emily, welcome aboard. Really enjoyed the session and your being here.
Thank you
Eddie,
so much.
namaskar, everyone. See you soon.
Okay,
Namaskar.
thank you.
All right,
Namaskar.
Eddie, Warren.
See you
Yeah,
this afternoon at 1:30, right?
yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Namaskar. Namaskar, Poonam ji, Rajat.
भैया
जी,
नमस्ते।
नमस्कार ओंकार. Namaskar, Ankit, Meenakshi.
प्रणाम चाचा।
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. And Yuan, thank you so much. And it's Andre, I think.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Perfect. It was good.